Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spin Cycle Live. I am your host, Nathan Hale. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon here. I am so glad to have so many of you here with me. We have so much to get into, so much to talk about, but let's hear how everyone's doing today. I hope you all are doing so good. It's starting to warm up here in Kansas City. It was freezing cold last week, man. I mean, it's like 20 degrees out today. It's not quite as bad, but you know what really gets me with the cold? I gotta tell you this. I gotta level with you all. The thing that really gets me with the cold is the wind. The wind just cuts through your jacket and it just goes right to your soul. It abuses you out here. Now, I know many of you are from the warmer climates, so you have, you all are freaking out when it gets below 50, which I'm right there with you. I'm from a cold climate and it gets below 50 and I'm wanting to hibernate. So this is I'm really hibernating now. I'm not going anywhere right now. But it's that wind that really gets me, that just cuts me to my core, that makes me go, why do I still live here? And then I remember, I remember all the obligations I have and all the reasons why I have to sit here in the Midwest. Now, it's no hate on the Midwest. The Midwest is a lovely place. I have nothing against it. Well, I have some things against it, but I don't have that many things against it. I don't have anything against the people. Well, I do have some things against the people who live in it, but I'm getting off topic. Not trying to insult the Midwest here. If you live in the Midwest, it's a lovely place. Not all the time, but sometimes. The people here are lovely most of the time as well. But we have stories to go. We have things to talk about. We have news to get into. So we should get right into it. All right. So let me go and pull up my screen here. I was searching for some stories and everything, and I came across a few good ones, but the first one I wanted to open up with is something that I just found out was even happening today, and it is all about the Canadian, or sorry, not Canadian this time, not Canada this time, guys, not Canada this time, but gosh, my little split screen got all messed up, guys. I'm like, first last week we had the issue with getting the show up on time, and now my little split screen is all mixed up. What's going on here? I know I have, here we go. That's what I'm looking for. We got to it. I got you can't see it on this end, people, but I got a little hot bar in front of me. It's got a whole bunch of different little screen setups that you saw. I can click through them, and mine was hidden. It was on page 2. But we got there, right? I'm a little old when it comes to technology sometimes, especially this whole streaming stuff, just because that's not my forte. I hang out in Excel. I love me some Microsoft Excel, but streaming is not necessarily my thing. But so getting into the story now, finally, after 5.5 minutes of foreplay, the Colombian, I guess, president caves under threat of Trump tariffs, agrees to unrestricted acceptance of illegal. So my understanding what happened was Colombia was acting the same way that Mexico was during Trump's first term, when they weren't willing to pay for the wall and everything, or at least the former Mexican president. I have more about that in just a second, but let's get into the story. So this is from the Post Millennial. The story starts, quote, "The government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft, without limitation or delay." All right. So the White House has announced that Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms after a disagreement between the presidents of the respective countries over the deportation of illegal immigrants from Colombia currently in the U.S. and their repatriation into the South American country. Earlier on Sunday, President Trump announced via Truth Social that the U.S. would be placing tariffs on Colombian goods, that his administration would be shutting down the visa department in the American embassy in Colombia. The Trump administration said in a statement, quote, "The fully drafted IEEPA tariffs and sanctions will be held on reserve and not signed unless Colombia fails to honor this agreement." I think that this is fantastic. This is an excellent use of when tariffs are used to to intimidate other countries. Right there's a great story that I've heard of President Trump meeting with Justin Trudeau, and Justin Trudeau and the president are trying to negotiate something between Canada and the United States. And Trump asked Trudeau, he says, all right, Justin, what's the one thing in the world that I could do that would totally cripple the Canadian economy? And Justin Trudeau responds and he says, well, you could tariff our cars. And Trump goes, Justin, let me teach you something about negotiating. The first rule of negotiating is don't tell the person you're negotiating with what would totally cripple their economy. Secondly, I will tariff all of your cars. I will put a 100% tariff on all of your cars if you do not give me everything I want. And my understanding is that the president got everything that he wanted based off of that. So you can see how tariffs are used as negotiating leverage, right? Because the threat of, someone doing something is intimidating. It's the same threat that that Trump has, and why Russia is in talks to end the Ukrainian war. And the same thing that happened with North Korea. Because if there's even a 1% chance that the other side is going to bomb the shit out of you, right, you're not going to do that thing, right? That's why North Korea settled down as soon as Trump started talking about all of his big nuclear weapons that he's got too. And if North Korea doesn't start settling down, right, he's going to start sending things over there. So, I mean, you remember, he's like, if you mess with America anymore, we're going to bomb the shit out of you. And that's exactly what's happening here. Not necessarily weapons, but with tariffs in this case, right? It's just another weapon that the president can use to get what is best for Americans. And we don't want these people in our country. And clearly Colombia doesn't want them in their country. So they're happy with them sending them to the United States, right? All these people who are defending Colombia right now, right? They don't want their people coming back. These are their people. We're trying to return them to you, right? They don't want them. They're like, they're yours now. They're yours to keep. We don't want them coming back here, right? So let's finish out this story. So during a heated triad, Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, accused Trump of treating Colombians as, quote, an inferior race, and compared Trump's policies to colonial era exploitation, stating, quote, you will never rule us. Colombia is the heart of the world, and you didn't understand that. So it appears to me, though, that the Colombian president is the one assuming that his race is the inferior race. Not that there is an inferior race, that's what I'm saying, but you see where I'm coming from. I mean, follow my logic here, right? This guy doesn't want his own people coming back to his country. He wants them to stay in the United States because he knows exactly who they are, right? Law-breaking citizens, law-breaking immigrants, law-breaking aliens coming into the United States that Colombia doesn't want back, right? So these South American countries all over the world, countries you never even heard of, they are not sending us their best, to say it lightly, okay? And this just reminds me, do you remember back in 2015, Trump was talking about putting the wall up and everything on the campaign trail, which, by the way, the wall is going back up along the southern border, I mind you. But Trump was talking all about putting the wall up on the southern border. And I don't know if it was the current Mexican president or the past former Mexican president. I was 13 at the time, 12, 13 years old, so I don't remember off the top of my head. I was little Nathan. I was little Nathan then. So the Mexican president said to Trump, he was going on all of these different news shows and saying, Mexico will not pay a penny for that F-bomb wall, right? We put up across the southern border of the United States. Now he didn't say F-bomb while he used the actual slur. He used the actual word. And he did this on a lot of news shows, and the wall ended up going up. And didn't Mexico end up paying some money for the wall to go up? I don't remember exactly what happened with all, but I do seem to recall that Mexico paid something, unless I'm totally crazy. But like I said, this is all top of my head. I was young, so don't hold me to that. But this reminds me very much of this, where this guy's talking strong words and everything, and then caves into the president. So, lovely gentleman. I'm assuming this is the Colombian president. Lovely gentleman this guy is. Glad he didn't get his way. So moving on, more news about immigration. So ICE arrests 956 illegals on Sunday alone. So yesterday, not even over the past week, just yesterday, ICE has arrested almost 1,000 people. And this is great news. This is great news, right? So U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement on Sunday arrested 956 illegal aliens and lodged 554 detainees as border czar Tom Homan moves swiftly to implement President Trump's immigration crackdown. Now, unlike the Biden administration, we are not hiding the fact that Tom Homan is the border czar of the United States. We love the dude here on this show, right? He's one tough cookie. So the agency confirmed its Sunday figures after announcing operations in Chicago, Illinois, and arresting 286 on Saturday. Friday saw the agency arrest 593, while Thursday witnessed 538. So just add these numbers. So this is 1,000. Let's see here. Saturday was about 300. So we got about 2,300 people arrested just in the past 4 days. Great news for America. Get them out of here. They're breaking our laws. Send them back where they came from. Come back again when you're ready to become a citizen, right? All right, so border czar Tom Homan says we took a lot of bad guys off the street today. This city is a lot safer today. Now, not that Chicago, once again, Chicago is a sanctuary city, from what I understand. So they're being awfully quiet with all of this, but that's not stopping Tom Homan here. So that's the whole story. That was just quick little news right there, a little update on what's currently happening. But this is great. Get out there, send them back. Send them back. I don't want people breaking laws in my country to be running around the street, right? We don't know where you came from. You're not vetted. We don't know who you are, right? So one thing to jaywalk on a street, it's one thing to jaywalk across the border, okay? So, new Trump order on transgender troop, COVID, and more expected on Hegseth's first day. So Pete Hegseth, he did get confirmed, right? Pete Hegseth, he got confirmed in a tie-breaking vote. J.D. Vance had to break that vote. I think it was his first tiebreaker as Senate president. Which it's really interesting, right? Senate president and vice president at the same time. Gotta love it. Very familiar with the Senate too, having been a senator. But Pete Hegseth did get confirmed, 50-49. So let's get into this. So this is from AP News. President Donald Trump was expected to sign a flurry of executive orders focused on the military Monday, including to reinstate troops booted for refusing COVID-19 vaccines, assessing transgender forces, and further outline rollbacks in diversity programs, just as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth began his first day on the job. You guys, America's healing. We're healing, right? I can see the scabs forming. We're stronger than we were before. America's healing. Are we back, guys, or what? I think we're so back. So the order could further clarify initial directives Trump issued shortly after his inauguration last week, while he removed protections for transgender troops put in place by former President Joe Biden and ban DEI initiatives at federal agencies. I love. See, this is why like conservatives start talking about the fake news, right? Because you have lines like remove protections for transgender troops. It's so vague and it sounds way worse than it actually is. This is why people like me are like don't like mainstream news. I cover news from the mainstream sources just because I like to be fair and balanced here. I want to give my viewers, a nice little batch between, left, center, and right wing news, right? And it's just like, this is why we talk down on news agencies like this. Remove protection from transgender. This is what it actually means. So the new order on transgender troops does not impose an immediate ban, but directs the Pentagon to come up with a policy on their service in the armed forces based on military readiness, a person familiar with the matter told Associated Press. What's happening, from my guesses at least, is the notion that a trans individual might not be there entirely mentally, right? And thus it could impact their military readiness, or their decision-making processes, or whatever that may be, right? We generally don't like people in the military that have mental illness, okay? So that's the conflict there, is that the left is very much taking the perspective that if you're trans, right, you're not mentally ill. This is just something that's happening to you. Just like us gay folks, we're not mentally ill. It's just something happening to us. It's different things, right? Cutting off a body part that's entirely different than wanting to be being same-sex attracted, to say the least. So, I've met many great trans individuals in my lifetime. I know many of them, and they're lovely people. But would I classify them as being, perfectly sane and ready to defend our country? Not necessarily. That's not to now. I have not necessarily met not necessarily met people who are in the armed services. I'm sure that they're great people, but I think that there are plenty of jobs out there that other people can do, and I'm sure that there is a place for them in the military somewhere. So let's keep reading this. So the new order on transgender troops does not impose, or excuse me, guys. Let me just get a little mulligan on that one. Stepping forward, was about to reread something to you all. So Pete Hegseth told reporters as he arrived at the Pentagon on his first official day, would be busy and additional executive orders expected on, quote, on removing DEI inside the Pentagon, reinstating troops who were pushed out because of COVID mandates, Iron Dome for America. More about the Iron Dome in just a moment. Just a moment, people. Hold on. This is happening quickly, he said. So it was not immediately clear what the additional order on DEI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, would be. But Trump's initial actions ending those programs across the U.S. government already has had far-reaching consequences without clearer direction. Agencies have been taking broad approaches of removing any content that seemed to run afoul of Trump's ban. Good. Agencies should remove anything that doesn't seem clearly to uphold American values and be good for our citizens to view or take in, right? The content that is pushed out from government should be as pure, as basic, as unpolitical as possible. So I'm all in favor of taking out anything that has any sort of motivation behind it whatsoever, and at least giving a review before it goes back into place, right? Anything that's government related, from schools, from agencies, whatever that may be, no political motivation whatsoever should be present or should be able to be argued, as far as I'm concerned. All right. So that's all I got on that story. But let's talk about this Iron Dome. This is the first that I've actually heard about the Iron Dome. Funny to say that. I mean, I might have heard it. I might have heard Trump talking about it, but I've only really ever heard of an Iron Dome from the perspective of Israel having an Iron Dome. So President Trump to sign executive order launching U.S. Iron Dome. So first on the Daily Signal is from the Daily Signal, Tyler O'Neill on the Daily Signal. President Donald Trump will sign an executive order Monday to build an American version of the Israeli Iron Dome missile defense system. I'm assuming that executive order happened sometime today at some point. An expert in national security and in the Iron Dome in particular praised Trump's actions as the fulfillment of President Ronald Reagan's strategic defense plan. According to a news release provided early to the Daily Signal, Trump's executive order directed the implication of the next generation missile defense shield for the United States against ballistic, hypersonic, advanced cruise missiles, and other next generation aerial attacks. So if you're not familiar with the Iron Dome system, the way that I believe it works, at least this is my understanding of how it works in Israel, is being attacked on all sides constantly. So they have this missile defense system. It's not a literal dome, but they have these missile defense systems scattered across their country, and they're able to detect immediately from space if there's any missiles coming towards Israel. And from there, they are able to launch missiles out to intercept the ones coming at them and blow them up in the air. That's my understanding of it. So I believe that's what's coming to the United States, so that any attacks that might be coming on us, while we are very defended across the country, right, because we have two oceans on either side of us, while we are very defended, it's still a threat. So if any missiles should be coming at us, they should get blown up well before they make landfall, right? The order, quote, accelerates the development and deployment of hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor layers, proliferated space-based interceptors, a proliferated warfighter space architecture, capabilities to defeat Savios. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Salvoes. Prior to launch, salvos maybe. Prior to launch, non-kinetic missile defense capabilities and underlying and terminal phase intercept capabilities. I have no idea what any of that is. I'll be completely honest. I have no clue what any of that actually means. It sounds very intimidating. It sounds very advanced. I'm glad the United States has it. It sounds great. I'm all for it. So, great spending by the Defense Department. Good job. All right, so like Israel's highly effective system of the same name, President Trump's Iron Dome will provide an impermeable defense for American people that will bring peace through strength, the security expert added. So I guess they had a security expert come on here from some organization and talk about it. So nice quote there. Great thing. I'm glad the United States has it. Sounds great. More of this stuff, anything to make the United States the military powerhouse of the world, I'm in favor of, right? This is what spending should be on, not on, I did a story, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago about ridiculous spending from the government. One of them was they spent a whole bunch of money making uniforms for soldiers that were green camo when they were going into a sandy climate, so they stood out like a sore thumb, right? So bad. That was bad spending. This is good spending. I'm in favor of this. More of this stuff. All right. Last story of the day. Now, this one kind of took me by surprise. I was not expecting to see this. I was not expecting to read half the things I read in this story. That's why I left it towards the end. Let's talk about this. So, state lawmakers are pushing for vaccine exemptions even as childhood vaccination rates fall. So this is from Hartford, Connecticut. So vaccine bills are popping up in more than 15 states as lawmakers aim to potentially resurrect or create new religious exemptions from immunization mandates, establishing state-level vaccine injury databases, or dictate what providers must tell patients about the shots. Many see a political opportunity to rewrite policies in their states after President Donald Trump's return to the White House and anti-vax activist Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination as the next Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. The agency oversees virtually every aspect of vaccination efforts in the U.S., from funding their development to establishing recommendations for medical providers to distributing vaccines and covering them through federal programs. So childhood vaccine rates against dangerous infectious diseases like measles and polio continue to fall nationwide. The number of parents claiming non-medical exemptions so their kids don't get required shots is rising. Now, all I've got to say to this so far is the left brought this onto themselves. This is going to be used to demonize conservatives going forward as, oh my gosh, they're all anti-vaccine. They don't want kids getting shots, blah, 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 blah. Number one, nothing is ever going to happen, right, that is going to ban vaccines altogether for like any disease out there, like regardless of what it is. There's too much infrastructure in place on the back, and there's too many people making money off it for an all-out ban, right? What states are suggesting, though, is to at least give people more of a choice what they're putting into their body. And honestly, what we've seen, I feel like in the past couple of decades, is people relying so much more on the public health system when they have immune systems of their own, right? The first thought that people have when they get sick is, let me take medicine, right? Let me take something to calm my symptoms down versus, right, what am I going to do beforehand to prevent that from happening, right? The amount of people that had to be taught how to wash their hands during the pandemic and the pansy-wansy, like, blows my mind. Like, why do we have to teach people how to wash their hands? This should be a basic thing that everyone knows how to do. Everyone should be washing their hands several times a day. Little word of advice: if you pass a sink, wash your hands. Just do it. Just do it throughout the day. It'll keep things much cleaner. It'll keep your dirty, nasty, oily fingerprints off a whole bunch of your stuff too. It has that added benefit as well, right? If more people did that, I mean, the diseases would be less rampant, right? If we had more of a effort to push back public health back onto the people and bring back public responsibility to citizens, stuff like this wouldn't even be that big of a talking point, right? But it's because people rely so much. They think that as soon as they get the vaccine, oh my God, I'm protected against this stuff, right? And that's not how every single vaccine works, right? But the left brought this onto themselves, first off, by regulating the heck out of these and forcing everyone to get COVID vaccines, right? Because none of this was really talked about mainstream before COVID happened. And then COVID happened and everyone started talking about, oh, well, this vaccine, right? We all know the COVID vaccine is full of crap. But maybe, if this vaccine is bad, maybe other ones are full of crap also. Now, I'm not here to say which ones are and which ones aren't. All I'm saying is that the amount of vaccines that are being given to children these days are in the hundreds. I mean, they're skyrocketing up through the roof compared to what they were 50 years ago. And what does that tell us, right? That tells us a handful of things. Make your own assumptions based on that. The other thing that I'm hearing, from what I understand about vaccines now, is they're different than vaccines that, say, like my parents were getting when they were younger back in the 1970s and 80s, whereas what they were getting was an actual strain of the virus that might be in there. Like the measles vaccine, for instance, was like a strain of actual measles, right? Now it might still be a strain of it, but it's filled with all sorts of preservatives and stuff that are really harmful to our bodies, that are going right directly into our bloodstream. And that is my understanding was actually harmful to people, is the preservatives in the vaccines versus the actual virus itself, right? And I think it's everyone's own decision what they put in their body. If you want to get it, then go out and get it. If you don't want to, don't go get it, right? But if you're not going to if you're not going to take the effort to go and get those vaccinations, you should at least be aware of how to keep yourself healthy and how to keep other people around you healthy, right? If you're sick, don't go in public. If your kid's sick, don't send them to daycare that day. Figure something else out, right? Don't be going to school if you're sick. Don't be teaching if you're sick, right? We should have more of an emphasis on creating our public health system to foster more of that versus, right, like take medicine, still go to school though, right? Get everyone else sick around you, right? They'll figure it out. It makes everyone's life worse that way, right? So let's finish out this story. So Scott Burris, director of Temple University's Center for Public Health Research, has tracked public health legislation for years and watched backlash against COVID-19 vaccines grow to include more routine vaccines as anti-vax activists take hold of powerful political pulpits. And like I said, I wouldn't call these people anti-vax. The people that I've met who are truly anti-vax are like, they want to ban vaccines altogether and don't believe in them at all and want to force that on other people. I'm not in favor of that. I just want to make it more optional for people. And it goes back to Trump reinstating military people who were kicked out and everything. That should have never happened, right? Forcing people to get a vaccine against their will. I think that's really what made people wary about the COVID vaccine in the first place, was suddenly was being forced upon them, right? It wasn't just like available optionally out there. I don't think we'd have nearly as much backlash as we got now if government and institutions had enforced this upon their employees and upon their citizens, right? All right, so he thinks, he said, quote, "I think COVID and the politics gave standard vaccine denialists a lot of wind in their sails." I mean, absolutely. Say what you will about them. They have a lot more ammo now to use, right? This was a huge thing that we were told was safe. We were told there were no complications from it. We were told it was solid through and through. We had media telling us left and right that if you got the vaccine, Rachel Maddow on her show, if you get the vaccine, COVID stops with you. Right? It doesn't pass on, which we know is not true now. We know that was a lie. And that lie was passed on by our public health officials who knew it was a lie, who willingly gave it out to the public knowing they were lying to us, right? All right, so vaccine injury and law consent. So New York and Oklahoma have bills that would require providers to give people getting shots a full ingredient list. Great idea, right? Let us know what's in these things that we're getting. Like I said about all the preservatives and everything, tell us what's inside of here, right? Let me know what you're pumping into me. And Florida legislation would ban edible vaccines. Never even heard of an edible vaccine. Though none are approved for use in the U.S. and research still in the early stages. That's probably I've never heard of it before, but never even heard of it in another country before. All right, so vaccine injury is also a popular topic, and bills in Indiana and North Dakota propose creating state versions of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's Vaccine Advisory Event Reporting System, a federal database that drew the attention of vaccine skeptics during the pandemic. Anyone can file a report about a potential issue about a vaccine through the CDC's website. Notes a report doesn't provide the shot caused a health issue. So I think this is all great. I think that at least, if you're going to go through and get yourself shot up with something, you should at least know what's inside of it. Make your best judgments about what you're going to do with your body and your kid's body based on all the available data out there. But I'm always for giving people oversharing is like my favorite thing. Tell me more than I need to know about any given thing so that all the information out there is about it, right? I saw that Trump declassified all of RFK, JFK's records and Martin Luther King Jr.'s classified documents. So I'm excited to see what is contained inside of that. And I hope that it gives us some answers to the end of it. But it goes back to give me more information I actually need, right? Tell me everything, right? Put it all out there. I'm not a fan of hiding information from people. Same thing with all the aliens and the UFO and stuff, right? The U.S. government has a ton of information on all of that we know nothing about. Put all the information out there. Tell us what's going on. We all know you have information that you're not sharing with us. Tell us what's going on. Just put it all out there. Share with us. I'm not a fan of secret keeping. I'm not a fan of lying to people. I'm not a fan of secret keeping. Tell us what's going on, right? So I think this is great. More power to these states. I hope that legislation passes through. We will be sure to keep you updated on all that as it happens. But, guys, this is the end of the show. We covered all of our stories. So please come back and see me. Come back and spend some time with me on Wednesday. We will be back here with another great, fantastic show then. Hope to see you all soon. But tell me, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope that you enjoy yourselves. What is happening with my banners? Save. Hello? I'm trying to edit things on the fly here, people. It's not working. I'm trying to talk and read at the same time. Make sure I'm saying things correctly. Here we go. Now I got the right one. We'll be back here on Wednesday. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Homo Nation on YouTube, Nathan Hale on YouTube. All of our shows are being posted up there. Follow us on Rumble at Spin Cycle Live over there. Follow me on Twitter, now known as X, at Homo Nation. Follow us on Instagram as well. The show's being streamed to Instagram. If you are more of an Instagram user, you can watch us live over there as well. And we'll be posting on TikTok soon. You can go follow me on TikTok at Homo Nation as well. So we got TikToks going up. We're going to be putting up show clips soon. We're still working on the back-end infrastructure of all that. But go follow us where you're at so you don't miss it. Hopefully TikTok sticks around and all of my hard work and getting the short-form content put together and put up for you all doesn't just get wasted, right? I don't have to just put it on Instagram. How boring is that? I really don't like Instagram, but I know a lot of people that use Instagram. So go follow us on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Rumble. You can follow me on all the platforms. You got platforms. I got platforms coming on my ears. So many. Constantly writing stuff on X. If you want to send me a nice message, tell me how amazing I am. Tell me how great I am at doing this show. Send me a message on Twitter. I'll read it there. I'll get back to you. If you have a story that you want me to cover or anything, send it to me. I'm always happy to read what else is going on. I'm happy to talk about it. You just want to have a conversation with me. Happy to talk to you about any topics. Be honest with you all. I love chatting with you. I love interacting with you. So go follow me. Go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk to me directly. But go follow me on all the other platforms. You want to see all the stuff coming out from me coming soon, right? But with that, we'll be back here on Wednesday, same time. 5 p.m. Eastern. We got another great show coming on Wednesday. I know it's going to be fantastic. This show has been lovely. You all great, beautiful people. I love you all so much. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your morning, wherever you are in the world watching this. And I hope to see you all back here Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern for our next episode of Spin Cycle Live. But with that, I have been Nathan Hale. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. And with that, I am off. Peace out.